Hello, it's Nadia, and this is She Builds Again, and welcome back for another video. And so if you don't know me, I was 35 years old when I moved from my home in Bermuda to Bali, Indonesia with my husband and our son, and we have since welcomed another addition to our family, Zoe, who is pretty much just the pure Bali baby because she speaks more Bahasa Indonesia than she does English. And so we've just been living this adventure as a family, navigating the highs, the lows, the lessons, the in-betweens, and just allowing ourselves to be shaped in the process. And so today, what I really wanted to talk about is how moving abroad changes you. And so I've had some really deep, beautiful conversations, and I realized, even just yesterday, I was chatting with a friend, and I just realized how much this experience has changed me, how much my nervous system in this environment is so much calmer and so much clearer. I'm able to think differently. I feel like I have a different set of eyes to see the world. And so I'm going to be going into that in this episode. I'm going to be answering a few questions, 3 questions. And if you like this episode, please press the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear if you have any questions. Are you thinking about relocating yourself? If so, then my channel is all about giving you a real, honest, fair look at what relocation is like. And so whether you're planning to move to Bali or Portugal or Mexico or Dubai, there are so many different places that are now offering digital nomad visas and different options for people looking to relocate. The reality is that I want you to understand that there are going to be highs and lows with every place that you decide to move, because that is just life. And you can still thrive even in the midst of the highs and the lows, right? You can still have an environment that fuels you, that allows you to become the best version of yourself. And that's what I feel like this environment has done for me. And so I'm going to dive into the first question, which is what personal growth comes from the relocation? Oh man, you will grow in so many different ways. You will be surprised with how much the right environment can change you in a good way. You know, I mentioned in the introduction about a nervous system reset, and that is literally what I feel in my body right now in this very moment. I feel a sense of calm. I feel a sense of confidence in myself. I feel a sense of being able to share my voice. I have never had that before. I think I was living in such a dysfunctional state. It wasn't even my environment. It was just how I felt in that environment. I have a combination of things. I was a people pleaser. I grew up desperate to please people. And so I just wanted to be liked, and I was trying to be nice and good. And on top of that, I'm also a very highly sensitive person. So these 3 things combined with a small island environment in Bermuda was like a pressure cooker. I literally felt the weight of my community on my shoulders, and it was exhausting from a mental health perspective. I felt anxiety. I felt a lot of mid to low grade depression. I felt like I couldn't be myself. I felt like I was trying so hard to please everyone else that I had lost my voice. I had lost who I was. I didn't even sometimes know what I wanted. I just knew that that environment wasn't bringing out the best in me. I was talking to this friend, and she was like, you've been talking about relocating for years, for forever. And so I think with my particular story, what happened was after university, I went to university. I started university in Canada and then moved to the UK to finish up my last 2 years of university. And I had been interning throughout university at a newspaper in Bermuda because my dream was to become a journalist. And I had a job offer right out of university, which not a lot of people do. And so with that opportunity, with that offer came a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. And so I went back home, because why would you turn down a good offer and face the risk of the unknown? And so I went back home to Bermuda, and I ended up in kind of a loop and a cycle of maybe not being happy in jobs, but feeling like I had to do certain types of work in order to get paid. And it's kind of like the golden handcuffs. Like I wasn't making six figures or anything high, but I was making a good income and I was very good at saving and living frugally. And so because of that, long story short, I found myself in this cycle of being afraid to leave, being afraid to take the risk, even though I desired to be out of that environment, even though I desired to experience life in a different country and experience new horizons. I felt very stuck because I had this job, this quote unquote security, this safety net, and I didn't feel comfortable or able to take that risk. And then I got married to a man in Bermuda, and that just made things even more challenging because he had his own set of handcuffs as well with his mortgage and his very close relationship with his family. And so anyways, long story short, it took so long. I moved to Bermuda when I was 22 years old after university, and it took until 35 for us to actually be on the same page as a married couple, come up with the plan and then the strategy to actually relocate. And so anyways, I'm going to dive back into the personal growth, but I was just very dysregulated in that previous environment. My nervous system was always in a state of panic and fear, and I never wanted to share my voice because I was so afraid of judgment from my small, tight-knit community. You know, it's a blessing to have a small community, but it's also like a lot of weight as well, because you feel like even if you don't know the person, their opinion mattered to me. And so anyways, being in a different environment has been a lifesaver for me. It's allowed me to slow down. It's allowed me to get clarity in my thoughts. It's deepened my relationship with God, not at first, because I was disappointed and I was navigating a lot of different emotions with God. But in the last year, since I've really felt Him pursuing me and calling me home, it's just changed for sure my relationship with God. I've been able to hear more from and just tap into my intuition because I'm not in a state of fight or flight. So yeah, that's really where I am. I just feel like I'm in such a happier, healthier space, not in a perfect space. There's always challenges, but definitely in a calmer space so that I can think of new ideas. One of the things that I've been working on is just actually tuning into what I want the next chapter of my life to look like. I'll be 40 at the end of this year, and the work that I did when I first came here no longer aligns with my lifestyle, no longer aligns with what I want to do and how I want to show up in the world and the legacy I want to leave. And so because of that, I've just been experimenting. I've been figuring out how I can use some of my skills, some of my coaching certifications, some of my experience and my life that I've lived over the last 3 years to help and serve other people. I don't think I would have gotten to that place had I not made the move, had I not gone through my own cycle of healing and growth and nervous system reset. So question number 2, what perspectives have shifted over time? I have seen a lot of things shift over time. I have seen, because I am in, thankfully, a low cost part of the world, I've seen my attitude toward money shift. I've seen my attitude toward giving shift and gratitude shift. And I think those are just incredible places to be, because I used to be in a state where Bermuda is one of the most expensive countries in the world. I have a video about that. But when you're used to living in a place like New York or Dubai or anywhere that costs a lot of money, whether it's London or any kind of major city, I think what happens is life just gets so expensive, and so you have to restrict yourself in so many different ways. And because of that, I was naturally a frugal person, but I became ultra frugal. I became so stingy with money, and I was afraid of being generous because I felt like there wasn't enough. But now I have changed how I feel about money, and I thankfully I'm in a place where I'm so grateful that I get to be generous to people around me, especially when I see that there are needs that I can help out with easily and it doesn't really impact me in a negative way. I'm just so grateful that I have this opportunity for the very first time in my entire life at almost 40. And so if you ever get the opportunity to relocate and you have a different cost of living and you get to live comfortably and you get to help other people, like absolutely the best feeling, because it's no longer stressful to give, because you are giving out of a place of abundance instead of a place of lack and scarcity. And so that's been a huge, huge blessing and a huge mental shift that I've made over the last few years. And I would say that one of the last other things that come to mind in terms of a shift that I've made, a mental shift that I've made, is that I just feel myself expanding. I have, even just since the beginning of this year, come into contact with some of the most inspiring people. Like, the conversations I've had have been so deep and meaningful, and I'm just so excited for the future for the first time in a long time, because last year I would not have said the same thing. Last year it was like, I know a lot of people say 2025 was really tough, but it felt like a lot of loss. It felt like a lot of confusion. I started to lose a stream of my income. I started to lose clarity. I started to lose faith. I started to lose even just relationships. I felt like it was a lot. It was so exhausting. And thankfully, through these conversations I've had, through these relationships that I've built with people who are just doing way better than me in some instances, I've just honestly felt a renewed sense of hope for whatever's next. I feel like if God has allowed me to be in the room with these incredible women, with these incredible people, with these incredible entrepreneurs, then He must have something awesome planned for me. I just don't know what it is yet. And I just have to continue to take steps of faith. So I'm really hopeful and I'm really excited for that. So last question before I round out this episode is, what have we learned about ourselves? What have we as a family learned about ourselves? And so I think we've all learned so many different things. I'm going to say what I've learned about the different members of my family, but I'll start with my son. He was 3 years old when we moved to Bali, and that is such a tender age. And we had some challenges with him at school in the first year. And I think, to be honest, I think it was too much of a formal school structure for him at that young age. I think he needed more of a nature type program to just have fun. I think he would have thrived if we had put him in a different program, but we just did what we thought we knew was best. Anyways, we have seen him overcome so many fears. We have seen him thrive academically. We have seen him learn a new language. My son, like, I'm not going to brag about everything about him because he has things to work on just like I do, just like his dad does, but he is so bright. He is so intelligent, and we have seen that come alive since we've been out here. He has learned such a wide vocabulary in Bahasa. He's actually in one of the higher classes for that because he is doing so well with Bahasa, and he's doing so well with his reading. He makes me so proud when I hear him read. He's so intelligent. He's 7 years old, but he's been reading since he was maybe 4, going 5. So he is super smart, and I've just seen him, I've seen two sides of him. I've seen anxiety arise in him, but I've also seen him have the courage to face some of his fears since we've been here. And so I've seen both sides of that. And he probably gets that anxiousness from me because I've had that a lot in my life. But I've seen him, when you talk him through it, he will eventually start to realize, like, I can do this, and he'll try it. And then once he's done it once, you can't stop him. So that's what I'm really excited about with my son. And that's one of the ways I've really seen things change for him over the last couple of years since we've been here. And so with my husband, I mentioned this in another video, so I'm going to think of another tip. I was going to talk about the fact that he's really stepped into being such a great provider for our family. He's really worked so hard, worked his butt off to just keep so many balls in the air because he has assets in Bermuda. We have things that we're building over here. And so he's just been incredible. So one of the things that has really inspired me and that I really admire about my husband is just how he tends to bridge our community together. He is such an outgoing, bubbly, warm person. He makes things so much easier. He has made our lives here just go super buttery smooth because he pulls people in. He is such a beautiful soul and spirit that people just gravitate toward him. I do not have that same charisma, I don't think. Sometimes I do. I think if I'm in a healthy place, I do. But when I was back home, I was like the least charismatic person because I was so overwhelmed and anxious. I didn't want to leave my house. But yeah, I've just seen my husband just really shine. He has juggled all of the things with work, with football, with our family here, with his family back home. He does his best to just juggle every single thing, and he's been doing like such an awesome job. So I've definitely seen that growth from him. And for me, it's been just an emotional mental health journey. It's been about letting go of a lot of old stories that were not serving me anymore, and seeing the patterns in myself that are not healthy and that I do not want to repeat. And I still have things that I'm working on. I have not reached any kind of like higher self stage at all, but I am really proud of myself. I'm really proud of the growth that I've had. Even just in the last 6 months, I have figured out how to reset my nervous system, even though it was in panic mode because so many things were going wrong, so many things were outside of our control. And I've been able to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I really feel like I'm in such a hopeful place, and I'm so excited for what this new chapter is going to bring. And so I'm going to round out this video here. I hope that you found this helpful, and if you did, please leave a comment in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you, and please don't forget to subscribe because I am creating these YouTube videos for anyone that is interested in moving to Bali or just interested in relocating, period. If you are someone that has a partner and kids and you want to understand how life might be if you relocate and you actually take the time and ask yourself the right questions and have the right mindset and perspective before you relocate, I really believe that it can be a healthy, happy change for everyone in your family. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.